And then there's this.
All on that defensive possession. Clark. Oh! From another stratosphere!
She's like right up on Tiffany. But my goodness, look at that shot. Forget Tiffany for a second. Look at this.
Forces the errant shot, then Hope pulls down.
That shot right there, from what the announcer just called another stratosphere, that's not a player who's being held back. That's not a player struggling to find her game. That's Caitlin Clark in May of 2026, sending a message to anyone still pushing the tired narratives about her sophomore season.
Here.
It took us a year longer than we would have liked, but we're really appreciative of all you guys who made the game really fun. We were able to rally around it, so thanks for coming out. We appreciate it. Thanks for going the rest. We like that, but overall, thank you guys. They're great.
A couple things I want to point out.
Listen to what she just said. Thanks for booing the refs. She doesn't even know she picked up a technical foul at this point. And when she finds out in the post-game, she doesn't flinch. This is a different Caitlin Clark than the one we watched as a rookie. The Indiana Fever just snapped a losing streak against the Golden State Valkyries. And the way they did it tells you everything about where this team is heading.
Golden State Valkyries. Remember, Golden State was an expansion team. Came out in 2025. And Indiana could not get a win. So finally, they got the monkey off the back. The second thing I want to point out is she says, thanks for booing the refs. And it was interesting in the post-game press conference, she found out that she had a technical. She had no idea that she had a technical, but you could tell she just didn't care.
Here's the context most casual fans are missing. The Valkyries entered the league as an expansion team in 2025, and somehow Indiana could not figure out how to beat them, not once. That losing streak became a quiet frustration inside the locker room, the kind of thing players don't talk about publicly but absolutely notice. So when Clark says it took a year longer than they wanted, she's not exaggerating. This was the monkey on the back. And the booing she's thanking the crowd for? That's because the officiating in this game was a topic before, during, and after the final buzzer.
Season, not just talking about this game, but the 2026 season. You see here that so far this season, Caitlin is 23.8 points per game, number 3 in the WNBA, 9 assists per game, number 1 in the WNBA, 4.4 rebounds per game from a guard. She's a guard. And a block per game. May 9th versus Dallas, 20.7 assists, 5 rebounds. May 13th at the Sparks, 24 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds. May 15th versus Washington, 32 points, 10 assists, 7 3-pointers made. May 17th versus Seattle, 21 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds. And May 22nd versus Golden State, 22 points, 9 assists, 4 3-pointers made.
Now look at these numbers. Through 6 games of the 2026 season, Clark is averaging 23.8 points per game, 3rd in the entire WNBA. She's leading the league in assists at 9 per game. She's grabbing 4.4 rebounds and adding a block per game from the guard position. May 15th against Washington, she dropped 32 points with 10 assists and 7 made threes. May 17th against Seattle, 21 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds. May 22nd against Golden State, 22 points, 9 assists, 4 made threes. These aren't good numbers. These are elite top 3 in the league numbers. And yet the comment sections are still flooded with the same talking point, that somehow Caitlin Clark is being held back. By what? By whom? The evidence on the floor tells a completely different story.
A little clapping there toward Caitlin. This right here was nice.
On Clark, this matchup starting to heat up. Clark on the drive, draws the foul, banks it home, and 1 for Caitlin Clark. You and me. Here we go. Keeps her focus on the finish through the contact.
And the tongue stuck out.
Watch the finish. The contact comes, she absorbs it. She still gets the shot up, and it falls. That's the part of her game that's evolved the most this season. As a rookie, the league tested her physically, and she had to learn how to play through it. Now, she's initiating the contact. She's hunting the and one. The tongue's out, the fire is back. And the matchup with Tiffany Hayes wasn't just basketball, it was personal. Both players were going at each other from the opening tip. with the salon extracurriculars going into halftime that produced 2 technicals and what looked like personal frustration boiling over.
Game. I told y'all Aliyah Boston was going to be a problem. Golden State worked at clogging up the paint, but it could not stop Aliyah Boston. 20 points, 16 rebounds, 3 assists, also hit a 3. Look at this footwork.
Backing away inside, kick out hole, repost Boston. Boston turns, fades, fires and hits.
Beautifully done.
Some people are like, how come she's never in the paint anymore? No, she is. She's just doing a whole lot. So a little bit more from Aliyah.
Tell exactly what happened there as Clark bounces inside for Boston.
Good patience.
And then there's Aliyah Boston. 20 points, 16 rebounds, 3 assists, and a made 3-pointer to top it off. The Valkyries built their entire defensive game plan around clogging the paint to neutralize her, and she still went for a double-double with room to spare. Watch the footwork on that fade. Watch the reverse pivot followed by a single dribble to her left shoulder for the finish. This is not the same Aliyah Boston who got criticized last season for disappearing in stretches. This is a player who has expanded her offensive arsenal to the point where defenses can't take away one thing without giving up another. The complaint that Boston isn't in the paint anymore is missing the point entirely. She is in the paint, but she's also stretching the floor, working the high post, and finding mismatches all over the court. That's evolution, not regression.
Rolling. I also like the offense to defense substitutions at the end. We've seen that a couple times. And usually I give the basketball lessons more so in for the members of the channel. But I am going to say this now because I know there are people from all different levels of experience in basketball. And so sometimes somebody will come in the chat and they're just like, well, how come Caitlin is out? Well, there's only a few seconds left in the game or a minute left. Why is she coming out? And so I try to explain that that's the offensive defense substitution there. You want somebody really strong on defense if you need to get a stop. And sometimes it's not like you don't trust the person to be able to defend. Sometimes it's the situation you're in. So for example, Caitlin had 5 fouls down the stretch of the game. So coach went with the offense to defense substitution, which was...
Here's a coaching moment that nobody outside the basketball world is going to appreciate, but it deserves attention. Stephanie White and the Fever staff made a series of decisions down the stretch that show how this team is being managed differently than last season. Natasha Howard, listed in the box as mobiling in some sources, only played 11 minutes. That's not a benching. That's a coach reading the game. When small ball lineups are working, when the bench is bringing you back from a deficit, you don't force minutes for the sake of rotation balance. You ride what's hot. Then there's the offense-defense substitution with Clark in foul trouble. 5 fouls down the stretch, and the coaching staff pulled her on defensive possessions and put her back in on offense. That's not because they don't trust her to defend. It's because opposing coaches know a player with 5 fouls has to back off. Natalie Nakasi knows Clark won't risk the 6th. So Nakasi's players were going to attack her, not to foul her out, but to get easy buckets while she played soft. The substitution pattern took that weapon away from Golden State entirely.
And again, I like the grit. I say again, I don't know if I said this yet, but I like the grit of this team losing a lead and then fighting back and chipping away and winning this one. I don't even think I gave the score yet. 82 Valkyries, 90 Indiana. First time Indiana beats the Golden State Valkyries. So gonna just run through the box score, some of it. Mo Billings with 2 points. Boston, I already told you, 20 and 16. Kelsey Mitchell, 19 points. She was 11 for 11 from the free throw line. That was huge for the team. Lexi Hall with 7 points. Caitlin with 22 points.
And let's break down the rest of the box score, because the depth here is the real story. Kelsey Mitchell, 19 points, and listen to this, 11 for 11 from the free throw line. Perfect. In a game that came down to the final minutes, having a guard you can put on the line who never misses is the kind of weapon championship teams have. Lexi Hull added 7. Sydney Colson dropped in 11 off the bench. Raven Johnson chipped in 7. And Grace Van Sluden, who literally just joined the team and hadn't even practiced, got 2 minutes of run because Dewana Bonner cramped up and had to leave the floor. This is a roster with answers at every position. The 2 losses this team has, combined margin of 5 points. 5 points across 2 games. We could very easily be talking about an undefeated Indiana Fever right now, and instead the conversation in certain corners is still about narratives that have nothing to do with what's actually happening on the court.
The third straight win, 90 to 82. And now the Fever will have a few days off. They don't play again until Thursday, I think. And that's when they'll see the Valkyries again. It'll be good for them to have a break, rest their bodies, rest their minds, and also be able to catch up the newbie, Grace Van Slooten. That'll be good because I'm sure she's like, I just got here and I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. So great win. Couldn't highlight everybody. There's only so much time, but great, well-fought win for this team. They gritted it out. They got the job done.
So let's pull all of this together because the picture is clearer now than it has been at any point in the Caitlin Clark era. 6 games into 2026, the Indiana Fever are 4-2. Clark is putting up top 3 scoring numbers and leading the league in assists. Aliyah Boston is having the best stretch of her professional career. Kelsey Mitchell is shooting perfect from the line in clutch situations. The bench has produced quality minutes from multiple players, including one who hadn't even practiced with the team. The coaching staff is making advanced, situational decisions that reflect a deep understanding of game theory and opposing strategy. And yet, if you scroll through social media, you would think this team is in crisis. You would think Clark is being sabotaged by her own organization. You would think Boston has regressed. You would think the coaching is questionable. None of it matches what the film shows. None of it matches what the box score shows. None of it matches what the standings show. This is what Clark was talking about when she addressed the fake narratives earlier in the day. The rage-baiting content is designed to drive engagement, not to inform. It's designed to make you angry, not to make you understand the game. And the problem is, it works. It generates clicks. It generates arguments in comment sections. It generates entire YouTube channels dedicated to manufactured controversies that have no basis in what's actually happening between the lines. Meanwhile, the actual basketball is telling a beautiful story. A young team learning how to win on the road. A superstar guard expanding her game in real time, adding finishing through contact to a skill set that already included logo threes and elite passing. A franchise center who is figuring out how to be effective even when defenses sell out to stop her. A coaching staff that understands matchups, foul situations, and the psychology of opposing coaches. A bench that has answers when starters get into trouble. Indiana plays Golden State again on Thursday. Same opponent, same building possibly. And the Fever will have had several days of rest. Several days to integrate Van Slooten into the system. Several days to clean up the second quarter defensive lapses that nearly cost them this game. Golden State will have adjustments of their own. Tiffany Hayes will be looking for revenge after the spicy back and forth with Clark. Natalie Nakase will have studied the film and found new ways to attack Indiana's small ball lineups. But here's the bottom line. Watch the games, watch the actual product on the floor. Read the box scores, look at the standings, and then ask yourself why so much of the conversation around this team has nothing to do with any of that. The Indiana Fever just won their 3rd straight game. They beat an opponent that had owned them for a calendar year. And they did it with grit, with depth, and with a superstar who is rapidly becoming undeniable. So the question I'll leave you with is this. If Caitlin Clark is being held back, what does it look like when she's unleashed? Because what we're watching right now, top 3 in scoring, leading the league in assists, hitting logo threes, finishing through contact, leading her team to wins, that's supposed to be the suppressed version? Drop your honest take in the comments. Tell me what you're seeing that I'm not. And if you've been watching these games and you're tired of the manufactured drama, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.